Introducing the DJI Osmo Pocket. Say hello to my little friend. Here's just an indication how small this item really is. The actual storage box that it comes in is only 6 inches. The actual Osmo Pocket itself is only 4 7/8 inches top to bottom. Don't let the little size fool you. This little camera is a powerful 4K 60 frames per second dynamo. Okay, today we're talking about the new DJI Osmo Pocket. This little tiny 3-axis gimbal camera will basically take the place of having to use a 3-axis gimbaled phone stabilizer such as this. And if you look at the size comparison, there's really little to say. Able to shoot in 4K at 60 frames per second. That's higher than a lot of high-end DSLR cameras can do, and it's much higher than the DJI drones, which they're famous for, are able to do. They usually only can film 4K in 30 frames. Now at 1080p, this little unit can shoot in 120 frames per second, which gives you very smooth, slow motion footage. Now the DJI Osmo Pocket takes roughly 3 seconds from turning it on to being ready to film, which is incredibly fast. It is stabilized, the horizon line remains steady, the pans are very smooth. You can set it to slow pan or fast pan. It has active track and facial track features, which are really useful when you're framing your shots. Now, when comparing the DJI Osmo Pocket to a phone stabilizer gimbal, these two are 3-axis gimbals. But in order for them to work properly, they have to be balanced. They have to be balanced horizontally and vertically. And by the time you get it all done, while it doesn't take a tremendous amount of time, it does, however, result in the fact that the shot you originally wanted to take might have been lost. Each one of these phone stabilizers, and there's many on the market, but they all do the same basic thing. They keep the phone horizon line steady. And that's, for any kind of video footage, you want a level horizon, because your eyes will go directly to an improperly leveled horizon line, much in the same way as if you're doing finished carpentry work and you put, say, crown molding up on your ceilings. If there's a gap or the boards don't look level in any way, your eye automatically seems to be trained to these little mistakes. Another way I equate it is I do a lot of drone footage, and when you're doing an aerial footage, that horizon line, it can be slightly off and it makes your videos just look awful and very unprofessional. Now, they can be fixed in post-production, but that's added work. Why have to do it if you can have a level horizon right from the get-go? Both the Osmo Pocket, which is this little unit, and this is the Osmo Mobile 2, they have to be properly leveled. And the Osmo Pocket does it automatically. 3 seconds and you're up and shooting. While the Osmo Mobile 2, it'll take you roughly 45 seconds to a minute and then if it's not level, you have to calibrate it, and that takes another additional minute or so. So you've wasted 2 minutes of almost shooting, where you can start shooting right away with this little baby. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, when you first open the box, the actual box itself is only 6 inches. This is only 4 7/8 inches complete from top to the bottom. And when you first look at it, you're like, is this going to be like anything that's worth using? Can I use this professionally? And the answer is most definitely yes. Now, a lot of people like to compare this to the GoPro Hero 7 Black. And basically, they do the same things, although in the GoPro, that's a digital stabilization, while this is a mechanical stabilization. There are differences, and this is not meant to do the same thing that a GoPro is meant to do. With a GoPro, you can beat on it a little more and get it in dirtier situations, or get it wet, or in very dramatic settings, such as snowboarding or skiing or motocross biking. Whatever you're doing, the GoPro and this really are not for the same purposes, and you have to realize that when you're going to do your footage. You have to kind of know what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then use the proper equipment necessary to achieve the goals you're trying to get. Now, they do make attachments for this where you can attach it to your helmet or on your chest and walk around. They're coming out with a waterproof casing that this goes in, and it can be attached to a selfie stick, and you can actually dive with it. They say up to 30 meters. But the fact of the matter is, the GoPro and the Osmo Pocket are really meant to do two different kinds of things. They're not meant to be interchangeable, really. So if you're doing vlogging, or if you're traveling, or you do a lot of those kinds of footage, this is an unbelievable product. But if you're going to be jumping on your motocross bike and doing jumps and potentially getting dirty or wet or whatnot, well, the GoPro is probably the better solution for those kinds of footage. And that's the same with a large DSLR platform that requires, different size lenses and different situations where you might be in. It all depends on what you're going to use it for. Now, does this replace? Like I said, it doesn't replace depending on what you're going to use, and the DSLR is the same thing. You may need that for certain kinds of shots and certain kinds of situations. But in terms of being able to place this in your pocket and go on the go and get the same 4K footage you can with a large DSLR platform, this is really a viable alternative. It's not a perfect solution. No equipment is perfect. And like I said, there are $3,000, $5,000 camera systems that don't film at 4K and 60 frames. They might film in 4K up to 30 frames. 1080 you'll get higher frame rates, but very few DSLR cameras will actually film at this rate. And the latency between what's shot and the video is it's very minute. This is giving out 100 megabits per second of data, which is incredibly fast for such a tiny little unit. I myself don't own a large DSLR camera. I do want one, but to be honest with you, I can't afford the exorbitant prices that they charge for these things. I mean, some of the, a couple $1,000s, and that's just for the body. That's not including the lenses, which can be outrageously expensive in themselves. And if you look at, professional photographers, they've got a whole bunch of different lenses, a whole different bunch of different body styles for different situations. A guy like me who's just starting out, I just can't afford those kind of things. So right now I'm using my phone to film this. And it's filming in 4K, 30 frames per second. I am filming with the Filmic Pro app, which is a pretty decent app for photography and videography. And it offers a wide range of professional settings. But so too does this little Osmo Pocket. It is constructed of a hard plastic, although the 3-axis gimbal, which is motorized, this is a metallic, and it has a slight rubbery grip on the bottom, although I usually hold it from the sides, because on the front there is a microphone facing you and another microphone on the bottom. So if you were doing filming in what they call the flashlight mode, you're still going to have a microphone facing you. On the front of the Osmo Pocket is a small LED screen, and what that's basically used for is to frame your shots properly. It's very small, and you can, tap control the active track or the facial track. You can control your settings. But in terms of being able to see if something's in focus or if in proper contrast, it's very hard to see. So I wear glasses, and a lot of times I'm not able to know if it's properly in focus or in proper exposure. And for that you need the monitor, which hooks into the phone. Your phone becomes the monitor. But they do offer a new Bluetooth base that you can buy. It attaches to the bottom via the USB-C adapter, which is on the bottom. And what that allows you to do is connect directly to your phone and the Mimo app, which controls this Osmo Pocket. And therefore you can have your phone away from the unit, still be filming, and know that you're in proper settings. Everything's focused in contrast, and your settings are how you want them. Now the Bluetooth base allows you to also plug in the power to a wall outlet, and therefore it increases, obviously, the battery. It will charge while you're filming. Now, as it is right now, you can attach a power cord into a portable power base, or plug it into your computer while you're filming, and you will continually keep the battery charged. Without that, your battery, basically in 4K, you're going to get under 100 minutes of shooting, which is a long time when you think about it. But it's going to drain, when you're in higher resolution, you're going to drain the battery that much faster. So you need to keep that in mind when you're doing your shoots. I tend to not let my battery get below 20%. That's how I do it on my drones. This is not really a smart battery, like in the drones, where it will dissipate after a certain amount of time, and that saves the life of the battery. This is a non-changeable battery, which, in itself, I'm not sure if DJI is going to address that in a future release, but there's no way of changing this battery. So if you want to continually charge it, you have to get either that base unit, which will work with Bluetooth off your phone, or you need to have plug in the USB-C to either your computer or a portable power base, and then you can continually charge while you're shooting. Another thing that they're coming out with, they haven't released it yet, is an adapter for a 3.5 millimeter jack for an external microphone. When this was done in beta testing, which was, and before they released it to the consumers, a lot of the testers said that the audio levels were just awful. Now, once they released this December 15th for the consumer, they came out immediately with an update, a firmware update, that seemed to resolve a lot of the audio issues people were having. So I haven't had any problems with my audio. In terms of having an external microphone, that would be an added addition. So they're coming out with that very soon, and I believe they released this to get it into the market right before Christmas, and believe me, I'm sure they sold a lot of these units, but they didn't think before they released, they should have added a couple of these things. This is a $350 camera. That's not cheap, but it's not overly expensive either. So, like for some of the adapters, they've come out with an adapter that you can now hook GoPro accessories to, which will make a lot more functionality for this unit, but that's a separate cost. That's $20. The wheel that controls the gimbal, you can control it left or right, up or down. Now you can control that on the phone through the Mimo app, but on the unit itself, it only allows you to pan up or pan down. You cannot pan left or right without hooking this into the Mimo app. So whether you hook it directly into your phone, or if you have the Bluetooth capabilities, then you're able to move the camera any which way with your finger on the phone itself. So these are some of the things that I've noticed, and I've noticed other people sort of complaining about it a little bit. I mean, it's good and it's bad in a way, you know what I mean? But they're making all these accessories, but they're after the fact. And a lot of them that they said they were coming out with, well, they didn't have it ready, and now they are, but once again, it's additional costs. So, in fact, there's a lot of third-party companies now releasing products designed specifically for the Osmo Pocket, and like ND filters, which will tremendously help with slowing down the shutter speeds and giving you more cinematic capabilities in different situations. They're coming out with, all kinds of selfie stick and ways to hold this unit that they didn't have. They mentioned the fact, but they didn't have them out until after they released this product. So you have to sort of take the good with the bad, and as time goes on, more and more companies are coming out with things that are specifically designed for this unit and will make the capabilities that much greater. Like I said though, that's more money. I mean, it's not like when you buy this for $350, now you can set this on a flat table and do a time lapse or a motion lapse and use it, but if the table gets bumped in any way or it's not completely level, you risk this thing falling, and it's not meant to hit the ground. There are some YouTubers out there who like to kind of damage their products to see how much they can beat on it. And, you know, you can't get this wet. It's not designed to be waterproof. You can't design it to, it's not designed to fall to the ground and survive. Yes, it may work, but the LED screen may break, or the lens itself might break, or the little gizmos within the motorized gimbal might break. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I don't tend to treat my equipment that way. I tend to kind of take care of it if I can. It's just too expensive an investment to really beat on it. And it's not like they're sending me products to do that. You know, you have to take these things into consideration. Yeah, you can use them skiing or snowboarding, but if you fall, you know, there's no guarantee something's not going to break. Additionally, when you're done filming, the Osmo Pocket itself fits into this little handheld case. And it's got a lanyard strap that you can put around your wrist. Now, it doesn't have a lanyard strap, like a hole for it, on the actual Osmo Pocket, which would have been better, because when you're walking around filming, somebody knocks your hand or you bump into something, you're not paying attention, this could tumble down and hit the ground, and it's probably going to break. Now, having this protective case keeps the gimbal stabilized inside, protected. When you're traveling, throw this in your bag. You know it's going to be safe. You put this in your pocket. It's protected. It's made of a hard plastic that you can, you know, it's not meant to be run over with a car. That's not what it's designed for, but if it drops, it's a little more protected. It's not guaranteed that you won't break something, but it is an added feature that truly makes this able to go in your pocket. Because don't forget, if you just put this in your pocket without the case, you know, there's a chance that something might catch on the gimbal. And when you pull it out of your pocket, if it catches on something in your pocket, a thread or whatnot, there's a chance it could fall. Because like I said, the lanyard strap is on the case itself, not on the unit itself. Another thing they've done is they've added an SD card, easily accessible. It's not like a door on a drone where you gotta like click it open to get to the SD card. It also fit up to 128 gigs, which is gives you a lot more filming capability, but it's easily put in and taken out. Now on the bottom of the unit and the case itself, they have a cutout so you can plug this in for the power and charge this. Now from 20% to 100% takes a little over an hour, maybe a little less, but when you're using the unit itself, you can put it on a power pack or your computer if your cord is long enough and still continue filming, and it will charge the battery as you go.